Hi, welcome to NUS Business E-Open House, and I'm Vanessa Ho, and I'm a Year 2 BBA student. And with me today are two deans who will be taking over the Ask Our BBA Deans Anything. So with me today, let me introduce you Assistant Dean and Director for Undergraduate Studies, Dr. Helen Chai.
Hi there.
And Assistant Dean for Undergraduate Studies, Associate Professor Ravi Chandran.
Hi there.
All right, so leave your questions in the Facebook Live comment section, and we'll do our best to answer as many as we can. But if not, you can head to our website to leave us more questions. Okay, so previously we have one student who was asking about the dual track program because the student is an upcoming BBA and accountancy student, so maybe you want to answer that question?
Okay, so for at NUS, we don't have a double degree combining accountancy and business. We have many other combinations, but not specifically accountancy and business because they are from the same school, right? So all our double degrees are from different schools. So we don't have this, but basically all accounting students get to do many business modules. They do most of the core modules, plus they have room in the curriculum to do a specialization, let's say, in finance. So it's almost like a double degree, but we don't call it a double degree.
But it's great because it's more well-rounded in that sense, right?
And it's open to all students. It's not open to just a select group of accounting students. So basically, every accounting student has this opportunity to delve into business subjects as well.
Cool, okay.
May I add on as well? For example, for a student that is in our accountancy program, they can actually specialize in finance and add on another specialization in business analytics. And that makes them super marketable.
Yeah, previously in our Hear From Our Students session, we have Ryan who's doing double degree in business and econs, and he's still doing double specialization, which sounds insane, but I guess he just wants to be well-rounded in a lot of things. So that seems really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Yushen asked, is there any advantage in taking a double degree? Okay.
Well, it really depends on whether you're passionate about two areas, right? So maybe you're not very sure at the beginning, so you want to try out two different fields. It may open more job opportunities, different career paths, but it's not for everyone, right? So you can try, and if you don't like it, you can always drop out and then just focus on one area.
Yeah. Let me share an example. There's this senior a long time ago. He decided to do a double degree in business and life sciences because he was torn between these two passions of his, which is business and life sciences. And in his first job, his first career, basically ended up with EDB, which actually just market the life science industry in Singapore.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah. Oh, what about you, Vanessa? If I
knew this was coming. I saw this coming.
Yes.
So because I'm a double degree student as well, I'm studying business and communications and new media in FASS, which is just up the hill. And initially why I chose GDP is because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I knew I was interested in media because I've been doing media for years, but business is something that that it's like an unknown to me, but I'm guessing that I had interest in it after A-levels. So I wanted to expand my options as much as possible when I first entered. But now I kind of know that I'm going to spend more time focusing on business. So I may or may not drop CNM to save 1 year. But at least now I'm very, very sure. And it took me 1 year in NUS Business to figure out what I really want from talking to seniors and studying a few modules here and there.
Well, Vanessa, it's really great that you have figured out where your path lies. Okay, for those of audience who are out there right now, if you have opened up your application page, you'll realize that there are different choices of double degree ranging from law to economics, as well as to engineering. You may find certain passion of us, hey, it's not there at the list. Don't worry, you can actually customize your own double degree program. And that's whereby, when you were hearing me just now say, hey, double degree business and life sciences
so
not on the application form. So that's one of the ad hoc double degrees that the students can customize in NUS Business School.
All right, so Zidrin asked what are some of the traits that the school is looking for in applicants. This is a golden question. Thanks for asking.
You want to take a dig at it first?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. We're really looking for peaks of excellence here. I can't share too much, else I let the cat out of the bag, right? So it will be the peaks of excellence. We're looking from sports talents to your arts talents to community talents. So what I mean by community talents is people who are super passionate about community service. And it's not just a one-off community service that they do, but consistent involvement in community service, whereby they are there every day, if not every week.
Wow.
Yeah. So
or even
yes.
people that start their own business, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, we are also looking for entrepreneurs. So it's a shout out there for entrepreneurs. Please put that down in your personal statement.
Yeah, so that's how I got my leave of absence this semester. I wrote in an application saying I'm doing this business, sent it in Accra, got my LA. So it's really helpful, actually, really, really helpful. So do you have anything to add on how people, what are the traits that they should have to get into NUS business?
Okay, besides all the things you mentioned, I think you need to be curious. I think it's very important to develop this curiosity. Read widely. It'll certainly help when you come in, right? And for your future career as well.
All right, thank you so much. And someone is asking, so during the whole 4 years honours program in NUS, what can the students expect? Like, yeah, in terms of student life and curriculum.
We certainly want a well-rounded student, so certainly not someone that basically non-involvement after class, but someone who is really tuned in into both, the life here, which is basically be it hall life, or like yourself, Vanessa, you have something that's outside of the school as well. So someone who is well balanced is something that we are looking for.
And there are many, many, many opportunities, right? So you really got to look out for those opportunities and make use of them.
All right. So one of the questions that I'm really curious to hear about, because I just flew back from Australia to here,
I heard.
and I'm sure a lot of Singaporean students are also very well traveled. So what are the key differences between our NUS Overseas College, our student exchange programs, and our summer and winter schools?
Okay.
So NOC program, right? It's basically it's about entrepreneurship, right? So focuses on that particular area. So it's up to 1 year, and it's operational in many different cities in the world, right? So you apply for it after you come in. So that's NOC. And for student exchange, you also apply for it once you come in. That's about about just 1 semester, not 1 whole year. And gain many, many opportunities, many, many different countries. And the last one is summer program. That's for a short duration, it's either during summer or during winter. And also you apply for that after you come in.
So that one, summer and winter schools are for people to experience student life overseas, but also clear some of their modules, right?
That's right, yes.
All right.
And NOC also you'll be clearing some of your modules.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, you don't really waste time when you go on the NUS Overseas College, even though you spend 1 year overseas at, for example, at Silicon Valley. Exciting times there. So the students will be doing modules in Stanford. And then they'll be mapping back, we call mapping back the modules, which is counting the modular credits back in NUS Business School. And then you graduate on time.
Last year I went for this STEER program in Israel and Jordan, and we met some of the NOC students interning at startups in Israel, and they were telling us great things because the companies can be really small, like a 3-man, 4-man team. So each intern has a huge role to play in the startup, which seems really interesting. And in the previous year from our student session, we spoke a bit about SEP. So now maybe I want to hear more about NOC. So what can people expect, and what are the different countries that NOC have?
In NUS Overseas College, it's actually in what I call prime areas. We have 1 and 2 in US right now.
New York and Silicon Valley.
New York, Silicon Valley, and you have in Sweden. In fact, the student that was in the panel just now was actually from Sweden.
But in the SEP program,
yes, and then there was another one in the morning, and he was actually in the IOC program in Sweden.
And the number of countries is just growing bigger and bigger and bigger. So the whole program started off very, very small, okay, but over the years it's really grown big, and more students are being accepted into NOC. And it's not just being accepted into NOC, they're actually coming up with startups and so on. So
and they network between other NOC students also, right?
So what they do is they will spend, basically they are part-time students, full-time interns. So they are being attached to a startup. Now let me give you a very famous example, I think you sure know, which is Carousel, all right?
Yep.
So the 2 founders of Carousel, basically when you're on our NUS Overseas College program, they got that idea there of Carousel. And then when they came back to Singapore and they said, in fact, this is what I want to do. And then they went full steam ahead.
Huge unicorn. Yeah, and I believe last year or only recently they started on the short-term NOC program, because I visited my friends who were doing NOC Jakarta. So, like, how's that different from the 6 months and 1 year program?
It's a shorter duration,
Yeah. Of
right?
course,
So just basically a shorter duration. And I'm not sure whether you actually take modules, but you definitely work in a startup.
So that's in summer?
Yes, usually in summer.
Okay, cool. And I understand there's also NOC Singapore, which I was looking into. So would you encourage that because it limits the overseas exposure? Or
There are many different opportunities besides NOC. Within the business school itself, we have entrepreneurship and innovation specialization. So that's another route you can take, right? So there are many avenues to develop your entrepreneurial skills. And it's really, if you come here and explore which suits you best, it really varies depending on your interests.
all right.
So there's different avenues for to each his own, So there's some who wants to experience an overseas startup, but there's some who felt that they have certain commitments here, such as
Yeah.
yourself, Vanessa, and they said, I can't go away, I have got a startup here, I need to juggle. So the NUS Singapore, basically NOC Singapore would be something that suits you actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going back to the Facebook. Sorry, because it wasn't loading in the page here, and now I see plenty and plenty of comments. Okay.
Keep it coming.
So how does Celine Yao is asking, may I know how this? Wait, 1 second. It's taking a while to look. So wow, it's really a lot of questions. So how does the okay? So someone is asking about NUS marketing specialization. So you want to hear more about what marketing specialization entails? Do you guys have anything to share?
Okay, so the marketing is one of our 7 specializations that we have here.
So what are the other specialization actually?
Yes, we would have the finance, which is one of our hot favorites, okay?
Of course.
And then you have marketing, of course, it's also very popular. And you have business analytics up and coming. And then we have, of course, there is innovation, entrepreneurship, leadership and human capital management.
And business economics.
Business economics, yes. I think I covered all 7.
So how do people choose their specialization if they're not sure at the start?
Don't worry about that. So when you come in your very first year, take your time to experience and go through the A to Z spectrum of what foundation business modules cover to you with 101s. And then after which, you kind of get a feel of where you want to go, what you want to do. And that's whereby you can always list your specializations. But of course, there are some who are right from the start go, before they come in, they said, I want to do finance. And they said, okay, I'm going to list finance as one of my specializations even before they even have the first taster of finance modules. But of course, there are those that I know of, my students who, after having the first taster of finance, they are not so sure. They said, well, that's
Not for
probably not
you,
for
yeah.
me. And I said, okay, how about I'll do marketing instead? Yeah. So
okay.
that's whereby in NUS Business School, it has that flexibility for you to kind of explore, and you're not so shoehorned in it before you come in.
All right. So even for myself, I'm not super sure about this one. So I definitely have to ask the deans. So what are the key differences between, your majors and minors? So how do I go about figuring what should I major in and whether I should take a minor or not?
So specialization is something within the business school. A major and minor, we're referring to something you do outside the business school, right? So for example, minor or major in Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. So major is 12 modules, a minor is 6 modules. So you can apply for them. For some of them you can apply even before you come in. For some of them you'd apply after you come in. So it varies with a major and minor. But one thing I'd like to point out is that since NUS is a comprehensive university, the number of majors and minors is just mind-boggling. It's so many combinations. So it's really, whether, what you're interested
Sport
in.
for choice, right?
Yeah.
So do you think signing up for elective modules in other faculties will help a student identify what are some of the majors and minors they can consider?
Sorry, say that again?
So do you think the general elective modules, the unrestricted elective modules will help you decide?
Yeah,
on
so you
whether-
have lots of unrestricted modules, and so you use them to try out a few in a particular, let's say in psychology or maybe in economics. And if you like it, then you can develop it into a minor or a major later on.
Cool. Okay, so personal story, how I first met Dr. Helen Chai was during one of the coffee sessions in my first interview for an NUS scholarship, 3 hours long, mind-boggling interview.
Not to mention too much.
Difficult, very difficult. But can I just ask, what are the different scholarships available for upcoming students?
Okay, there are a whole host of scholarship, right from the NUS level, the NUS Global Merit Scholarship, and to the scholarships offered by the NUS Business School. One good thing is this for the students, they just have one scholarship application to make. So they have to make an application, which is for admissions, and another application for scholarship, and then that will be flowed down to the business school for consideration as well. Yeah. So we have, of course, NUS Global Merit, back that, and then at our faculty level, we have the Business Dean Scholarship.
Cool. And I know this morning Esmond was hosting the Dean session as well, and he's a Mokhtar Reddy scholar, and myself, I'm a Stephen Reddy scholar. So there are a lot of different scholarships to consider.
Yes.
And even for myself, I think I was the first batch of Stephen Reddy scholar, and I got in through the NUS Merit Scholarship, which was when I first met you.
Yes.
And then they called me down because in my application I wrote I was interested in entrepreneurship. Would you like to
Yep.
come down for this new scholarship? We don't even have a website for it, but come down and give it a shot.
Yes.
So, I
So
think
you
it's-
are the pioneer.
Yeah, I was the first
Yes.
batch. So I think it's really interesting because people have this misconception that there's only maybe the Business Dean and NUS Merit and NUS Global Dean Scholarship, but there's like a Global Merit, but there are so many different scholarships available.
Yeah,
right?
including sports scholarship that, for those who are athletes as well.
So what's the process like to get the scholarship?
Okay, so right after the application, and after which there will be reader. Okay, so I do read the statements myself, and then after which the students will come for an interview, which is the super long interview that you mentioned. Okay, shh.
Okay.
And of course, after which we would have to ask the applicants to be a little bit more patient because we have to go through the entire process, and that will take us maybe all the way to May. Yes.
Okay, so if you're already a student in NUS and you didn't apply for a scholarship before admission, can I still
Yes, there are a number of scholarships that's actually for our current students as well, and quite a number of them are actually the generous donors who are our alumni. So our alumni have come and chipped in and actually put up scholarship for our students, and not only scholarships, but as well as bursaries as well, financial aid. Yeah.
Well, so how is there a process that they can go through to apply for financial aid if they wish to?
Yes, so financial aid is also a one-stop shop whereby they go to the NUS financial aid. There is a financial aid application form, and that they'll fill it up, and then it will be attended to. Yeah,
Oh, I
and
believe-
it's preferable to do it before they come
Okay.
before they come in August, preferably, so that it can get processed right away.
I believe even within campus there are some scholarship or financial assistance schemes to subsidize hall expenses as well.
Yes,
So I
yes.
think those are really helpful for people who do not want to spend so much on living in campus but still want to try this experience.
Yeah. So for those of you who are concerned about the fees for the halls or for the university residential colleges, not to worry. There's separate financial aid packages to support students who want to stay on campus and felt that it might be a burden to their parents.
Cool. Yourself? Do you have anything else to add for
She
upcoming
said everything.
students? Okay, so before we wrap up the session, is there any advice for upcoming students on how they can maximize their time in NUS Business?
Okay, there's so many opportunities, right? When I was a student, hardly anything, right? So many opportunities. You have to go out there, you've got to explore, and then make best use of it, right? So you really have to, make use. There's so many opportunities. We have provided opportunities, but you've got to make use of it.
So from what I hear from my students is that they find it very tough to choose. It's like I've got a plethora of choices. I can go for SEP, I can go for NUS Overseas College, I can go summer school, I can do the CCA, that CCA, I can do a startup, I can be entrepreneurial. So it's like, okay, now it's about a bit about adulting right now.
Yeah,
it's
time management.
Yeah,
So,
it's about, okay, I've got just X a number of hours a day. What should I do? Should I so juggling that, like yourself, Vanessa, I think it's just not that. I mean, to many of these students, it's like, okay, I would need to make certain adult decisions, in NUS Business School.
Yeah, so many to choose from and so many for you to explore. You can explore more options on NUS Business School website and look at the FAQ segment, or even contact us if you have any inquiries that we didn't cover today. So thank you so much for your time, Mr. Ravi and Dr. Helen Chai. And that's all we have from Ask Our Deans Anything. But in less than 5 minutes time, I'll be speaking to 2 students from Biz Ed Club, and they'll be sharing with you more about the freshman orientation projects. So do stay tuned, and I'll catch you later.